And here we are, people. Another under the lens. And I got my brother from across the pond, man, like BBK in the building. BBK Sports. How you doing, big man?
I am well, my bro. How are you?
I'm all right. You know, ticking along. Like I said to you backstage, a little bit tired today, but we're here, and the show must go on. The
Show
show,
must go on. Show must go on, my bro. The work must be done.
yeah, it must be done. Again,
Yeah.
I thank you, my bro, for joining me. This is your Under the Lens. You know, the BBK Sports people. Yeah, it's been a while. I've been trying to get you. So here we are. It's been a while trying to get you. Here we are. 7 people in the building. Hit the like for me. Big up Jordan. Big up into the box. Holler at me, bro. Shout me, man. Big up Jordan again. Bigging up BBK.
Big up, Jordan. Big
Free
up,
time.
Majid.
Here we are, man. BBK Sports under the lens. Very happy to have you. And as you know, my guy, I always start with the opening question. You know, somewhat you say you're in Texas, my bro.
I mean, Seattle.
Seattle, there you go. Seattle. I knew it was one of them. My weed brain is a little bit, but my bro. So and I always say I'm very interested to hear from you because Shane says it all the time. You know, some of your insights, especially coming from international space. The same with Matty. They're very very deep insights. You know, like it don't matter that you guys are far away. Do you know what I mean? It always seems like you guys are in it. Like do you know what I'm saying? Like football. There's a special reason that you support Arsenal. Yeah, it takes a special personality. But anyway, you're from someone from Seattle. Your exposure to Arsenal when you may have got into the team, and then we'll get on to some good and bad memories, my bro.
Yeah, I just happened to live in the Seattle because I migrated to the States in '99, but I grew up in Jamaica, right? Where,
Hey, come on.
football is the thing. It's football and there's cricket.
Yeah.
You know, and in the early days when I was growing up, most of the men then were Liverpool fans because of John Barnes and that. And there was a lot of United fans, but the men them who were them kind of fans were kind of not like people who I wanted to hang around with. So I wanted my own team. You know what I'm saying? I wanted my own team to support when I started to get into football. And my mom's side of the family is from the UK. You know, a town outside of London called Windsor. You know
I
what I
know
mean?
Windsor. Yeah.
Yeah. So I used to frequent there. And in '91, when I went to Windsor to spend the summer, I met Ian Wright in London that year in '91, right? And we signed him in September of '91, which is right around my birthday, and that's when I got hooked on the club. You know what I mean? That's so my Arsenal journey started in 1991 as a kid growing up in Jamaica. You know them ones.
Yeah. So and obviously where I tune into most of your lives, I hear that you was kind of like based in Europe as well. So it's been a bit of a journey for you. I mean, I know that you're currently a military man, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So was that the reason why you'd kind of done so much traveling, or is it just because everyone was usually, spread out? As you said, part of your family was from the UK. I used to go and do a rave up there. Can't remember the name of it. But anyway, I've been to Windsor a few times. But is it because of the military, or is it just because
No, the early travels was just family. It was just a family thing, right? They would come to Jamaica some summers. Some summers we'd go visit them in the UK.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but yeah, the actual the German and the European trips, those are because of work. But living in the United States is just, my dad lived in the States and wanted us to come live with him in '99. So, we just made that move and came to the States. So yeah.
Yeah, man. And obviously I've been to the Caribbean when I was younger, because obviously my mum, her dad's Jamaican, her mum's Antiguan.
Yeah.
So I've been to Antigua. I was there for like 3 months and stuff, and most people from there, they kind of go over to the States anyway. It's either the States or the UK, isn't it? And obviously for you, you had family go to the States, family come to the UK. And obviously it's Ian Wright. He was the guy that got me into Arsenal as well. So let me get some kind of good early memories as an Arsenal fan.
No, so we signed him in '91, but we didn't 91, '92 season, but we didn't really do much in the '92 season. Like we finished 10th.
Right.
We finished fourth actually. Actually, we finished fourth that year, but we didn't win anything. Right. So it was like, cool. Did I pick the right team? But '92, '93, we won. You know what I'm saying? We did the double. We won the cups. We won the FA Cup and the EFL Cup. And I was like, okay. And Ian Wright scored like 30 something goals that season. That's where the journey began. So that was, but not even that year, the following year in '94, when we beat Parma 1-0 in the Cup Winners' Cup, that was one of my best early childhood memories of being an Arsenal fan. Man, I thought we were on a crazy ride of, dethroning or just getting our own success while Liverpool and Man United were dominating the scenes, because we only had 2 TV stations back then. We had CBM and JBC, Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation. And so Arsenal wasn't on TV a lot. So most of the games were Liverpool and Man United games. We used to listen to cricket on the radio and the Arsenal games on the radio if we were lucky, if we were playing one of the big boys.
Right.
So yeah, I had to find my own space in supporting the Arsenal, because we're still the little big team, if you will.
Yeah.
Big boys.
And that's why I gave you the kudos at the start, because like I said, you got to be a special you got to be a special personality to support Arsenal, man. You know what I mean? Not always, but especially nowadays. And even then, we wasn't the biggest thing going, as you said, Liverpool United. So no, I totally hear it, man. Big up a few people in the chat. I see Gavin in here. I see Into the Box. I see Shane. Big yourself up. Into the Box said closest I've ever gotten to Caribbean is Notting Hill Carnival. Big yourself up, man. But we will get to the chat a little bit later. But I like to ask my questions and make it about the guests first. So please be patient, guys. I appreciate all of you. And make sure you're subscribing. Any mods, let's get BBK's link in there. His link's in the title of the video. Let's go and show him some views, love, all of the viewers. So give me some bad memories, my guy. Like, something that kind of sticks with you.
What stuck with me was the really first bad one was, ironically, now we're celebrating second. It was in 99 when we finished second on 78 points, and Man United 79 points went on to do a treble. That was heartbreak, bro. Yeah. And this is why I'm having a hard time reconciling that to this. I don't know if it's a generation gap, a standards drop, or a combination of the two. But my worst memory, because I was around 15 at the time, to see these men beat us by 1 point, beat Bayern Munich at the 90th minute to win the Champions League and all that. That right there, bro, hurt me to the core, man. That was my worst memory as a teenager supporting football, when we lost out to Man United to a title, because we would have did back-to-back. We would have retained the Premier League title. You know what I mean? And I think that would have done wonders for the club. Because one of the things that we knocked Wenger with is that he won 3 Premier League titles. Kudos to him. Took 3 from Wenger. That's more than anyone. But we never, ever retained the Premier League title. But so
what I was doing? Sorry to just jump in there, my bro. I mean, that kills me as well, man. I remember the 99 treble from United fans, and I had a good few. I mean, in London, we got so many Man United and Liverpool fans that should have supported proper teams or local teams, but my auntie lived in Manchester. Oh, I always go up to Liverpool to visit family, whatever. But yeah, I remember that time, man. That time was horrible, bro. That time was absolutely horrible. But I was thinking that you just reminded me. I was trying to do some little bit of history, because I'm not gonna act like I'm Shane or bloody Lawrence or Jez. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just not. But I'm pretty sure in the 1930s. We might have actually done a three-peat, bro. If I'm not mistaken, maybe someone can let me know. I think it was like 31, 32, 33. But yeah, you're absolutely right. At that time, that definitely would have done us wonders, my bro. Absolute wonders. So brilliant, man. So that's obviously your introduction to Arsenal, a little bit about you growing up and stuff like that. Good and some bad memories. This is obviously easy for a lot of Arsenal fans, but like, favorite player.
Yeah, my favorite player is like the Top Gooner's most hated man right now. You know it. I love Righty. I love Righty. But after the heartbreak and we lost the treble, that very next year, we signed, Thierry Henry, and man went on to bring like another. I don't even think we can put a number on it, but the amount of fans that man brought to this football club and the growth, just having him at the club. But yeah, he was my all-time favorite player, man. There was never a time I felt like we were out of a game when he was on the pitch.
Facts. It was like Drake settings, bro. Nothing was the same, bro. I'm telling you, like, when that guy come in, I used to love Ian Wright, but when that guy come in, it was like, when girls do a monkey bar, like you kind of just move from one to the next. I'm like, oh, this guy TT is levels, man. Cool. I mean, it's easy for most people of our generation to but let me ask you about that, because obviously it's current news before I get into any more probing questions. But obviously he's made these comments. Have you seen the clip? Have you seen the overlap?
I seen it. I
Yeah,
seen it. Yeah, I
see.
seen it.
So,
Everyone sending it.
what's your thoughts on that, my bro? Because for me, he can't say anything wrong. He can't do anything wrong in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? So, what do you think about what he said, and then obviously the backlash that he's getting from these clowns?
Yeah, I'm astonished, bro. I don't know what I'm more disappointed in. You know, the backlash against Henry or the support for Arteta within the backlash. Because if I ask the question, like if I ask you the question, what's more important what's more important in football than winning trophies? I like send the top gunner that. Like we play the game. What's more important than winning trophies? And essentially what Thierry Henry was like is 5 years winning the trophies.
Yeah.
Like you are building a whole skyscraper. Building what?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there is nothing more important than winning trophies, and we are not doing that. So if you are not doing the essence of the job, you're not immune to criticism. And if Thierry Henry cannot criticize anything at Arsenal, then who can?
Oh,
we are in deep trouble, bro. We are in deep trouble. If he can't, so if Dennis Bergkamp said something, I wonder what the backlash would have been. If Mark Overmars said something.
Yeah.
Because, pundits have jobs that they have to protect. So sometimes their takes are cowardly, but you can tell that Henry is emotionally attached to the club.
Of course.
Loves the club.
Of
At some point, when he sits down with the other greats and the other goats, when he sits at that table, man, he don't want to get bantered about what his club is currently doing when everyone else is at the table feasting. Arsenal is out here participating. I mean, I don't know what part of that they don't get. So I'm angry. I'm shocked. I'm not gonna lie. I am shocked at the level at the backlash. I seen a journalist wrote a piece today saying Henry is low key jealous of Henry. Jealous. This man sits at the GOAT table.
It makes no sense.
How are you jealous of second? I'm not gonna lie. I'm jealous of Chelsea fans right now.
But facts. Last night, I would big up Northside as well, man. You can see. I mean, I've kind of tapped out because obviously I'm a little bit older, and I've been going through it a little bit longer. When I say tapped out in terms of really crashing out like that, knocking over my chair, because I'm so used to it, and that's a real shame. Looking at Chelsea yesterday, top 4, picked up a trophy, celebrations. Like, as you said, what is more important than winning the trophy? I'm stumped. I don't want to hear about good football. I don't want to hear about vibes. You're absolutely right. This is Thierry Henry, bro. And the thing is, right, and I'll just say this quickly before I move on, is he's like most Arsenal fans. We're pushed into this corner where you can either be a deluded SOD, yeah, or you're just having to almost banter your own club because there's nothing for us to be proud of. Do you know what I mean? Like he's, as you said, he was sitting in the overlap with legends, and he's, the building's tall, and they all start laughing. It's, you know what I mean? It's the only way that you can kind of survive as an Arsenal fan. It's disgusting. And anyone that would ever think that TT is jealous of Arteta, wind your head in, innit? Like, give it a fucking wobble, bro.
Yeah, bro.
That is disgusting.
And a part of his interview, when he actually said, Man United that we all laugh at has been in 5 finals since Arteta's been in the job. That just make you want to throw up. Like, what are we really doing, though? What are we really doing, Joe? We just all foreplay. It's just foreplay FC. Foreplay, no penetration, bro. Nothing. We're trying to get the baddest chick in the bar, and we got her, but it's all foreplay. It's all posing.
Yeah.
He's not of anything, bro. And meanwhile, man over here with a good-looking 7. She's not a 10, but she's a good-looking 7. But she comes with everything.
Everything. Yeah, she's about to go the whole way. I hear it. I hear it.
We are bragging about hugs and kiss on the cheek for seconds.
Buying drinks, you know what I'm saying, all night for to go. Listen, that is absolutely wild. 9 people in the building. Hit the like for me. BBK's link is in the chat. It's also in the description. Make sure you're subscribing, people. Don't be stingy. I am going to get to the comments very shortly, so please be patient. Cool. So BBK, obviously here we are, end of the season 2025. Where is your club currently? And what, in your opinion or your perspective, your take, what's the goals for Arsenal?
Well, let me back up a little bit, right? Because the 2023/2024 season was the first season in a long time we actually went into a season with title-winning expectations, right? the first title charge, like no one expected us to do that. We came out we came out of the case and just blitzed everyone and surprised everyone and kind of faltered at the end.
Yeah.
But last year we actually had title winning expectations, and we came up short at the end, right? 2 points short. So going into this season was another season with title winning expectations, and we have completely fluffed our lines. So going into next season, where my brain is right now, I'm really wondering, and I've heard this before and I never paid any attention to it because I just blocked it off. But I have to seriously consider this question now. Has the window actually closed on us? The window of opportunity may have closed on us if we keep this manager, or we keep this manager and give him the signings that he wants, because he has a proven track record that his talent ID is not where it needs to be to bridge the gap with this Man City team that we're competing against, because Man City fell off and someone else beat us to the title. So the question is, the question of the window actually closing actually is at the forefront of my mind, because next year, I honestly don't predict us to win the league either.
Yeah, that's not a bad take at all. But speak about it, bro. I mean, what makes you feel like that?
Because a Manchester City team who went 2-11 in a 13-game span finished 1 point behind us. They're getting the Ballon d'Or winner back in their midfield, best midfielder in the world. You know, if we went 2-11, we would be nowhere near the top 5 Champions League football, nowhere near it. They get the Ballon d'Or winner back. They literally had a preseason within their season when they went out in January, and I actually tried to correct the bad decisions that they made in the summer, right? They went and got Marmoush. Gundogan wasn't the thing. They thought they could get another year out of him. It didn't work. They went and got Nico Gonzalez, and they're going to spend more in the summer. They have the best manager in the world, if you ask me, right? Arne Slot at the top of the league right now. They're strengthening from a position of strength. I believe Chelsea, they're linked with a striker today. Their players have won something. They're going to continue to grow as a team.
I was going to ask you about that, yeah. But anyway,
we are. I don't think we'll do enough. And the manager doesn't fill me with confidence, man. I haven't seen enough evidence to have confidence in Arteta going into a sixth season. So, yeah,
okay, we are going to talk about that. But obviously, so I mean that's where the club is currently. What would you say with that? Because you've heard me say that as well. You know what I'm saying, in terms of, you know, what's at the forefront of your mind. So with that being in mind, you know, with that being the case, what's the goals for Arsenal? What do you think that they've got to do right now to kind of achieve those goals?
Yeah, we need a striker, man. We need a bona fide 20-goal a season striker, right? We need some world-class talent in the squad, because this year we scored 69 goals total. Last year our goal difference was 62, right? So we had a 62 goal difference, and this year we barely scored 70 goals, right? If you look back on teams that have won the Premier League over the past 10 years, I don't want to say littered with world-class talent, but there were world-class players in the squad. Right, we look at Liverpool. They got Alisson, they got Salah, they got Van Dijk.
Yeah,
we go to the Man City team. They got Haaland, they got Kevin De Bruyne. They have all these world-class players. Even if you skip a few and go back to the Chelsea team, you know, they had Hazard, they had Diego Costa, they had Courtois.
Yeah.
You know, so, and going back now, I think we have some really good players in our squad, but I don't think we have any world-class. Yeah, I don't think we the world-class is just there quite yet. And if you're gonna have a bunch of players who are really good, they're going to have to overperform to beat those teams with world-class talent. And the only thing that can get a team to overperform above their level is the manager. Take Napoli, for example. Right, we got a man like Antonio Conte who goes to Napoli, loses his 2 best attackers, one to PSG, one goes to Galatasaray. But he gets those players to overperform to beat his former team to a league title. Right? He gets Scott McTominay, who Manchester United threw away. Not a great player. No one would have him in their squad. He got him to overperform. Lukaku, who Chelsea threw away, he got him to overperform. And Issa didn't make it at Fulham. He's in the Napoli squad, overperforming. The only difference they made, really, was the coach. The only difference that Liverpool made was their coach.
It's the coach, yeah.
It's like a cold case, right? It's like a detective with a murder that he can't solve. And the new detective comes in with a fresh set of eyes and looks at the evidence and looked at something that the old detective may have missed. Not to mean the old detective was a bad detective. Arteta might be a good coach that will flourish somewhere else. But we need a fresh set of eyes. We need
Mm.
a fresh set of eyes to look at this squad because
Mm.
right now Arteta is tunnel vision. He is emotionally attached to Martin Odegaard, so he's not gonna be those fresh set of eyes to say, you know what, Martin, you move in the 8, Ethan, you play the 10. Just a fresh set of eyes to make it through. You know what I mean? So to get the squad to overperform, I don't think he is that guy. I just think his voice has gone stale after 5 years of trying and 5 years of failing.
Maybe I should have waited, you know what I mean, for the clap, you know what I mean? But absolutely, man, I absolutely agree. So, right, we're gonna get into the realms of Harry Potter then, my guy. Magic one time. So 3 big things that you change. You don't have to be players, it could be staff, it could be merch, it could be, you know, what do you think is the most important 3 things that need changing right now, my bro?
I would change the manager, I would change our captain, and obviously our striker. or a lack thereof. Yeah, I think a new manager, because I actually think a new manager will appoint a new captain. That's the best way, right? Because if Arteta is scared to take the armband off of Odegaard, like I said earlier, he's emotionally attached to him. A new manager doesn't have that burden. But everyone gets a clean slate. Hey, Martin, I don't think you're a captain material. Gabriel, Declan, here's the armband. And I think if we change the manager this summer, it would send a clear message to everyone that we're about.
Facts.
Everyone will be on their toes. Like, oh, bro, it's like, man is making 50 million a year when we got rid of him because now it's time to win. Remove context, remove the nuance. The menu in football is short. It's wins and losses. It's trophies or not.
Cooking.
Right? Cooking. So, you know, at some point we have to make a big decision. A big decision needs to be made. Let's see if Berta's on. Let's see if he can make that big decision. But yeah, the coach, the captain, and the striker.
Bam. Bam. And obviously we're here now. It's the end of the season. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been sitting there pretty upset because it's like, you know, Liverpool got their big boy pants on now. You know, Man United seem to be making moves. Other clubs seems to be making moves. And you were one of the people that said, you know, we're going to see if he gets busy in a couple of weeks' time. But why is it that the league champions just coming back from Dubai, the season ain't even finished yet, and yet these men are doing up like craziness already? Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, what do you think on that? How are you feeling? I mean, I am going to follow that with another question, but obviously just about how we've kind of started the summer, the end of the season, however you want to put it.
Yeah, it feels like more of the same, isn't it? You know, we knew the league title was gone months ago. So, you know, agents should have been spoken about, links and monitoring. We should have been past all that phase. You know, we should be hearing about medicals being scheduled now. You know, we should be hearing about medicals being scheduled, release clauses, something other than what we've normally been doing for the past 5 years. Because clearly, you know, 5 years, I think 5 years in football is a big enough sample size, man. You know what I mean? It's a big enough sample size for you to know what works and what doesn't, especially when it's the same manager. It's not like we've been chopping and changing. The same manager, more or less the same players, and something's not working. So it's a big enough sample size to say, okay, let's try something else. Like throughout the season, we have tried Partey at right back. We've tried Moreno up front. We've tried this. We've tried that. How about we try a new manager? That's the next thing we need to change. You know what I mean? Because Liverpool are going against the narrative that we only win the Premier League when Manchester City fall off, right? In 2020, City had a bad year. Liverpool won. This year, fell off. Liverpool won it. So for Liverpool to kick that narrative to the curb, they have to retain the Premier League title. So that's why they're feeling the way they are. You know what I mean? And they're in a position. They have put themselves in a position. They have earned the right to move the way they're moving, where they can go for the best attacking free agent on the market in Florian Wirtz. You know, can you imagine if we were doing that?
Bro, that's the kind of thing that we need. Statements like this. This is what's just making me like, I'm like ducking my head, like I've got a weight on my back. Like this is just, you know, that's why I want to ask other Arsenal fans, how are you feeling? Because, you know, not to sidetrack, but big up Godfrey, big up Nick Fadley in the chat, big up Into the Box, club moving like Jay from In-Betweeners. I definitely agree. Nick believes that the manager should stay. I mean, obviously we can get into the comments in a bit, but there was one comment, here from Godfrey. Chelsea will seal the lap and are still pushing to sign Hugo Ekitike, bro. So, like I said, why is it that everyone's making moves and we have to wait, I don't know, until the transfer window opens officially. I mean, I know we're hearing this talk about Zubimendi. We'll get into that in a second, but just the initial, like, other teams are moving. How does that make you feel, bro?
Yeah, and this goes back to what I was saying. Like, I think the window of opportunity for us to win the league title is closing, or has closed, because of this reason. Because Chelsea are not going to sit on their hands. City are not going to sit on their hands, and they have Rodri coming back. And when Rodri plays, they win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Liverpool are clearly, Liverpool. Because going into the season, most Liverpool fans that I asked where they thought they would finish, they said third. Right. So there was no expectation going on Liverpool really to win the league this year, right? Because brand new manager coming into the league, hardest league in the world is what we say. That was the knock against them. And we don't know what Slot's about, but he has thrown that narrative way out the window. He has proven that, I can come in and win this league. Now, with Liverpool doing what they're doing, and player for player, manager for manager right now, I don't think we can chat to them. You know what I mean? I think they're better than us. So unless we overperform, especially in areas of the manager, I don't think we'll have a chance to win this league.
Yeah. Big up Nick Fadley's. Just quickly, I mean, we'll get into this because this is part of the question. So as I like to tell everyone, please be patient. This is a show for the guests. We will get into the comments and address any questions. And if you do have any questions for me or BBK, just put a Q by it, and we will make sure that we get to it. But obviously, like I said, I was talking about the transfers. These guys starting early, as you said. I definitely believe that we have missed the train in terms of winning. And now that we're having to fix. Now we need a load of players rather than just a couple of pieces. But I'm of the impression that Berta's not going to be able to go crazy this summer. I think he will obviously try and do his best, but I think it's pretty silly to expect, too much things to be happening. However, with what's going on, with all of the news stories you've been seeing, my bro, and with who's on the market, what are the pieces? I mean, first and foremost, how many players do you feel like will get in this summer, realistically, and who are the players that we should get in BBK's eyes that's going to help us move forward?
I'm going to be honest. I don't think we signed more than 3 players max. I really don't. And I think we need way more than that. I think we signed Zubimendi and a striker, whether it be Sesko or Gyökeres. That's a whole separate conversation. But yeah, I think we signed them too. But I think we also need for us to bridge the gap, we need another attacking midfielder option. Like, Odegaard has had 2 bad seasons now. He's had a bad season this year, but we forget that last year he wasn't great either. Like, his last good season was the Xhaka season. You know what I mean? So we can't depend on him to be our creative spark. And our left wing, I think we need an upgrade on Martinelli or Trossard on that side either, because our attack is just so right-sided, right side dominant that teams have worked us out. Even PSG just came out and said, "Hey, stop the ball from getting us soccer. We have a chance to beat these men." And if it's that easy to be worked out, then we don't have a chance in these cups.
Yeah.
These 3 players, but I think we need 5 or 6 realistically. But this club, I think we'll get 3.
And with the players that's on the market, with all of the rubbish, hi and welcome to transfer day, all this crap, like what with what's on the market, who does BBK want to come in? Because some people, because I've got big up boy 10, I call him Dio. He's a big advocate for Sesko. I've had people in the chat asking for Julian Alvarez, obviously Glock 9. Who does BBK want? Those 3 pieces.
Yeah, I mean, for striker, I'm not sold on Sesko, man. I've seen him in the world. We all know international football is much slower, and I've seen him in the Euros. He's not it for me, but he fits the Arteta mold, right? He's 21, young and impressionable, and can be molded and being told what to do. So I'd take Osimhen. I'll take Gyökeres. I mean, ideally, I'd love to have Isak, but I think I don't think that's a realistic target. But on the left wing, I don't know. I've heard talks of Mitoma. I mean, I do think Mitoma is an upgrade on Martinelli, but that depends on the price. I don't think he should be our primary option. I think he'd be a good replacement for Trossard. But you know, the left wingers, I mean, there's not too many
It's
left
hard.
wingers in the world that you know,
Mm.
I think the Julian Alvarez shout is a good one. But here's the thing though, here's the kicker.
Mhm.
That's not who we get on the left wing, who we get as a manager is not for viewers or BBK to decide. We have an entire scouting department that make millions of dollars to do this. You know what I mean? So it's not like there's not a mechanism in place for these players, for these people to go out and scout these players. Like, how does Brighton keep selling these men for 100 million every other year? Right? They get them from somewhere. They actually do some scouting. We can't fall into that Chelsea trap and do what Chelsea did a couple years ago and wait till every other club is linked with a player and then go sign them. So Arsenal are linked with Modric, 100 million. Oh, Liverpool are linked with Lavia. Oh, let's go sign them. Let's go sign this player because this club is no. You do some proper scouting, and go sign players. Like you scouted Timber and you signed Timber.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that with a left winger.
So for you, it don't really matter. There's no kind of people that you look at and say, because for me, I mean, Shane said it. Big up Shane in the chat, absolute legend. Make sure you subscribe to Shane, Road to 900 and all of that. He's saying we should have signed Cunha. Now, I agree with that. Like, I wanted Gyökeres, Cunha, and like Semenyo or even Rodrigo when that came out. I was like, look, we make it happen. We need a summer like Liverpool's having, and then these guys will serve us for the years to come. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so you believe that, you know, that isn't, and you're absolutely right, by the way. I mean, it isn't directly our job. But I mean, is there anyone that stands out to you where you're, I mean, Gyökeres aside, let's talk about maybe the left wing, maybe some competition for Odegaard. Is there anyone that stands out to you? Like, if we get that guy, then Arsenal's gonna be a lot better.
Yeah, this Cunha shot Cunha is a good shout. This Cunha is fantastic. You know, I think he can play the 8 or the 10. You know, very good shoots, very aggressive player. Yeah, but I don't think he fits our style of play, Arteta style of play, so to speak, because you know he is a player that like to you know, take on his man, drop his shoulder, and run it. And that's not Arteta's thing in it. He's into this control thing.
Yeah,
where it's rigid and it's it's death by 1,000 passes. So yeah, I like the Semenyo shout. I really like the Semenyo shout. You know, I think he does winger things better than Martinelli does winger things.
Oh.
When I talk to fans of Martinelli, and I don't have anything against Martinelli, but when the first thing you tell me about Martinelli is what he does off the ball, then that tells me everything I need to know. Like, you're an attacking player, you're my winger. I need you to be, getting by your man. Like, no one talks about what Lamine Yamal does off the ball.
Oh, facts. Oh,
cookie. That's what wingers do. You do winger things, But yeah, I like the Semenyo shot, to be fair, because Premier League proven, had a pretty good season. But I don't know how much they asking for him. I don't know.
I don't even know if they are. I don't even know if he's been valued up. This is my whole point. And I call these things always a season before, like last season, not to kind of blow my own trumpet, pause, but I said, get me Eze, get me Elise, get me Kudus, get me Isak. This is all before the season we've just gone through, and Isak's gone from 60, 70 to over 100 mil. Eze's gone from 40 maybe to 50 to 70 mil. What do you think about Eze, by the way?
Oh man, Eze would absolutely cook, because he can play the left. He could even play the left wing. Yeah, Eze would absolutely cook, man. Eze would absolutely cook in this Arsenal team. But every time we're linked with a player who I think can help us, I start to read these reports about his attitude and all this stuff. And I've never heard Thomas Frank say anything bad about Ivan Toney's attitude. It's only when we were linked with him that melon of a reporter called Charles Watts, put out a report and talk about they met with him and they didn't like his attitude. Bro, a goal don't care who scores it. You know what I'm saying?
The goal don't care who scores it. And it's only with Arsenal fans, BBK. Yeah. You hear it, with other people. It's attitude. It's like, I'm so sad. And this is why I think Arteta's a cancer, but we'll get into that. Sorry, was you going to say some more?
No, I think Eze would absolutely cook in our team. But you know what? he might even end up at Tottenham now. So
and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the rivals and that in the piece. Godfrey saying Rodrigo is the dream. What do you think about that, bro? I mean, I heard that we were haggling over a 10 million a year wage deal, like 10 million a year package for Rodrigo, and that just made me want to scratch my eyes out, bro. I don't know what you're saying about it or what your feelings are.
Yeah. So if we turned up in a Champions League match against PSG with a front line of Saka on one side, Glock 9 in the middle, Rodrigo on the left. Calm. Right. With Timber and Skelly, who perform well against the wingers in Europe. That front line, I think defenses lose sleep over. Yep. No defense is losing sleep over Kai Havertz and Martinelli. You know what I'm saying?
They're sleeping like babies. Yeah.
I think John Terry is someone that we can say we respect as a defender, as a good defender. I've seen John Terry sit in interviews and say, when someone asked him who was playing that gave you a stressful night, man said, well, when we were playing Thierry Henry, we used to be texting each other like we have a long day tomorrow, boys. No one is losing sleep over Kai Havertz, bro.
We haven't had. I don't think we've ever had anyone else like that since then. If you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean?
I think Alexis Sanchez comes distant second, but I think he did give defenses problems. When he was in his peak.
That's a good shot. But TT, that was certified. That was like rubber stamped to absolute nightmare. Yeah,
that's the kind of firepower we need to be turning up in these away Champions Leagues games with, because when we don't do that, we have to go there and we can give it a go for 20 minutes, and then the rest of the game is just back and forth, and we just don't have the firepower to go back and forth.
Tired again, and that comes down to little Napoleon, but we're going to get into that. So seeing Chelsea win last night, seeing the Hot Spuds win, you know what I'm saying, and get into champs football. I mean, Arsenal fans will tell you, oh, we got Champions League, we're second, la-di-da. I mean, let's talk a little bit about the importance of Champions League football, and let's talk about our aims, because it was semis this year, quarters the year before. What's realistic? We just got to go on and win it. Do you believe that's even possible? What's realistic for us? What's the importance of the Champions League?
Yeah, it's absolutely possible, bro. We're 2 wins away from winning it. You know what I mean? It's absolutely possible. It's the most prestigious, trophy in club football, but it's still a cup competition. Latimus. Big up
Latimus, man. Congratulations, bro.
Yeah. Now, I think we absolutely can win it. And next year, if you talk to top Gooners, we're going to use their own logic against them going into next season, because they told us this year we progressed. We went from the quarters to the semis. Now we have to get to the final, right? We get to the final. We have to win it.
Yeah.
We have to. If progression is your PR, then next year anything but the final is either stagnation or we're regressing. Stagnant or regressing. So we'll use their own logic against them next year. We must win it, because in the league we're doing second. Well, Liverpool did a fifth, third, first.
Yeah.
I want the quickest route to first, bro. I don't want no languishing in second and hope someone else falls off. No, the quickest fifth, third, first. That's the route we should have taken.
That's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy, isn't it? Because that really should be the the leading point. Yeah, quarters, semi. It has to be the final now, doesn't it? Do you know what I'm saying? It has to be the final. Spurs are in the Champions League again, my bro. What do you think they're gonna do?
Yeah, and let's be honest, and big up to them for doing their thing and winning. But you're in the Champions League now, bro. You're not gonna play Bodo Glimt in the semifinal. You know what I'm saying? You got you're not gonna, the level of competition, is completely different. And even though it's a trophy, I won't try to poo-poo anything on their trophy, but the format of the Europa League is completely different now. The Champions League teams no longer fall down in it. We had a crack at it and didn't win it. Fair play. But they're in the champs. You won't be able to rotate your squad every 3 days or 4 days or whatever it is. But yeah, I don't think they'll do a madness in the Champions League or anything. But they're in it. They earned the right to be there. Just like and they did it with the trophy. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it, when I was doing the watch along, I'm trying to justify, do you know what I'm saying? The ramification, not even justify, but I'm just trying to go through the ramifications of either team winning it. I don't know if you was present in the live or whatnot. And I'm saying, for me, you can see how damaging it is for Man United not to have won it. They might lose sponsors, like it's all going crazy. But if they did win it, then I think we could have said goodbye to any hopes of signing Gyökeres, things like that. Whereas Tottenham, I know disrespect, you know, they've been in the Champions League before. They've been fighting for top 4 before, and they didn't really push on. They haven't really gone mad in the transfer window, kind of like what Liverpool doing, and really trying to make that statement. So it's more likely that they wouldn't, and that's the only kind of and plus once they did win it, I was just watching Gyökeres compilations. I was trying to make myself happy. It didn't work, but there you go, man. So I mean, look, that's, you know, this is the season that we've had to face this year. It's been absolutely disgusting. You know, we big up Ladamus is in the chat. We spoke about Chelsea. And let me just point this out as well. I want to talk about their celebrations, right? Because let's not be hypocrites, because we know that we've got one of the worst fan base, like the top gooners on X and that. They would have probably been doing 10 times worse, let's be honest. And I'm pretty sure Arsenal was probably celebrating like that when we got back into the champs. I mean, what's your thoughts on that, my bro? I mean, are you like, I'd very much doubt your celebration, please, innit?
Yeah, I'm not, bro. And the thing is, like, if Arsenal had a celebration for second, some of these top gooners would probably go to it. Egal. I haven't meant to mention no names, but yeah, man. Like Chelsea, if Chelsea or United won this Conference League, they're in a position to say they've completed Europe. You know, as cheeky as it is, you know, as lame as whatever.
No, they're doing the final.
They have completed football. They have won a competition they had no business being in. But big up to them, because let's not act like we were ready to crash it on them if they lost it.
Oh, we was ready. We was ready.
Yeah, we were all gonna crash it on them. But yeah, I mean, no problem. I'll never police anyone for celebrating a trophy. I'll give him some stick for celebrating beating Forest and qualifying for Champions League after 1.2 billion spent. That's a different conversation. But the aim of the game is to win, and they won. You know?
And they won, bro. And now it's like they can dunk on us, innit? And obviously Arsenal was the first stop for most of these guys. But like, I'm just like, you know what? If you shit the bed and you don't clean it, bro, then you have to sleep in it, innit? And this is Arsenal in a flipping nutshell, man. But you know, I feel like we're in the twilight zone, bro. I call it the upside down. You know, you've got Crystal Palace winning their first ever trophy, Newcastle dog walking us, you know, Tottenham and Chelsea winning trophies, Liverpool winning the league, you know what I mean? And we're just sitting here, no Denzel Washington, we ain't leaving with nothing, bro. So yeah, that is just I don't know. I mean, how do you feel as an Arsenal fan, bro? I mean, this is the twilight zone, honestly. It must be.
It is, bro. And here's the thing. Here's the kicker. All that stuff that you just listed happened. We could have still been eating this season because we sat at a completely different table. None of this could have been of consequence to us. We could be playing Saturday if we handled our business. So Liverpool could have won the league, and all those other teams could have did their thing, and Arsenal could have also eaten. None of them man took food off our plate. Well, Newcastle did. They knocked us out.
That was crufts, bro.
Yeah, but we could have still ate.
Yeah,
and we didn't, and we went out with a whimper, but we lost both legs. It's not like we went out on a last minute Hakimi goal or something.
No, we lost.
That was the easiest 1-0 I've ever seen at the Emirates, bro. They scored in like the 3rd minute. We had 87 minutes.
Yeah.
87 minutes plus stoppage.
Yeah.
And could do anything against PSG. Bro, Villa put 3 past these men.
I was so upset, man, just how flat we are. And for me, we'll get into it. Sorry, go on, carry on.
No, it's like Villa put 3 past these men, you know, and big up to PSG, because we say the Premier League is the best league in the world. They knocked out all 3 English clubs.
Easy.
They knocked out Liverpool, knocked out Villa, and they knocked us out.
Light work as well.
You know what I mean? So we could have been, we had a golden opportunity to eat with all those other teams who you just listed. Everyone could have ate. Chelsea didn't take food off our plate. Tottenham didn't. No one did.
Newcastle. Only Newcastle.
Yeah, only Newcastle.
So how did you feel after January closed and you get me? The gavel went down and there was nothing doing, brother. How did you feel, fam? Tell me.
Honestly, part of me was like, I understand as a business why this ownership wouldn't want to give Arteta any more money to spend. Like part of my brain went there. Was like, okay, you know what? We've given you all this money and you haven't made signings that move the needle. Like you spent 100 million on Kai Havertz and Fabio Vieira, right? And the Fabio Vieira signing, for you to sign someone and have to loan them back to their club, I don't know who I told this to. It's like, bro, it's like you buy your car from a dealership, then you take it back to the dealership while you're making the payments and they're driving the car to work. that's 35 million wasted, bro. If you're gonna loan him to a Premier League team so he can get used to the league, or loan him to the, you know what I'm saying, loan him to the championship so he can put some meat on his bones or something. But we just gave Porto 35 million for what? Like, what was the point of that? So if you're a Stan Kroenke or you're Josh Kroenke and you're looking at it like, bro, I don't know. We're gonna bring it. We're not gonna give you any money in January. We're gonna bring in a new sporting director to make these decisions. But once we even in spite of all that, we still found ourselves in a semifinal with an opportunity to win, and we didn't. So.
And do you feel that that's more because the reinforcements weren't brought in, or do you think it's little Napoleon?
I think it's both. I think the ownership was worried about he was going to get it wrong again. But we don't want you to get this wrong again. So just work with what you got until we get someone to help you. Maybe if Eddie was still there, we would have done something in January. But the fact that there was no sporting director concrete at the club, they weren't trusting Arteta to go make that signing. So we don't trust them. The bosses don't trust them. So there's a silver lining in the cloud. He might be on his way out.
Disgusting. Big up Nick Fadley. He's saying 6 PL teams in the UCL. What a year. Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? That is crazy. That's absolutely crazy. But there you go, man. And because every team is having relative success, barring one. Do you know what I mean? Big up Ladamus. He said we did what big clubs are supposed to do when we're in these perceived lesser competitions. Just go and win it. Facts. And this is what I wanted to segue on quickly, and you just reminded me there, Ladamus, yeah, because obviously we was talking about the importance of the Champions League. So for you, just quickly before I get on to my last few questions, are you of the opinion that it's better to be playing Champions League football, even though we're probably not going to win it, or would you have preferred that but if we had fell out of the top 5 and got Europa, wouldn't you have thought in this format we would have had a better chance of going to win that next year? What's your?
We'll still find a way to fuck it up. I think we would still find a way to make a mess of Europa because Arteta did have 3 cracks at it. And even though the format was different, if you look at the clubs that knocked us out, it wasn't the big boys that dropped down from the Champions League. It was Sporting Lisbon, it was Villarreal, and it was Olympiacos. Yeah, none of these are big Champions League clubs that dropped down. So he had 3 tries. Like Unai Emery, his first try in the Europa League, we got to a final. His first try. Arteta had 3 and didn't, right? But the reason why I prefer to be in the Champions League is that it doesn't give this club an excuse to say we don't have money to spend, because they've ran that excuse before. Okay, we can't attract the best players in the world because we don't have Champions League football.
That's a good argument. That's a good argument. Most people, that isn't the first thing that comes to mind. But let me caveat that with this then, because don't you think we bought better players when we was in Europa? Because we've had 2 years of champs now, bro.
Yeah. And that's the thing. When we bought better players when we were in the Europa, what we ended up doing was putting them on bad contracts.
Yeah,
we have to overpay players, So it's kind of like what Manchester United are going to find themselves in now. When Cunha goes there with no Champions League or no Europe, they're going to have to overpay him. And say he doesn't bang, he's going to end up on a contract like Rashford or Sancho when he's, is very economically attractive to be sold.
All right, then let me ask you this then, because you just mentioned Cunha, but then don't that make you feel like we ain't got no pool? Because like I said, I know you're saying that you don't really fit the system, but it was touted that we were looking at him, and off he goes to United, European football or not. Gyökeres was basically, we're not confirming anything. Not to say, listen, none of this could be true. We're only going by what we can see, but it kind of looked like he was waiting to see what might happen with United as well. So what do you think on that, bro? Do you think we're kind of losing out in terms of pool?
No, I think he knows he's going to get a pretty handsome payday. And, he speaks the same language as the manager. That type of stuff matters to players, and maybe he believes it's just a matter of time before they get back into Champions League football. And maybe man just don't rate Arteta.
Yeah, facts. No, we're gonna get there. We're getting there. That's literally the next question. We're gonna get there. but very astute as always, man. They speak the same language, and this is why I was saying Gyökeres will go to Man United. You know what I mean? Because especially if they made champs, because they ain't gonna ask him, are you tracking back? This is the manager that put him on, basically. So yeah, great points, bro. Great points. But yeah, that leads us on to our manager, little Napoleon. I think I know this, but I've got to ask you like I ask everyone else. Is this guy the guy that's gonna take us forward? You know, that's the first question. And then to caveat that, has he been the single problem at Arsenal this season? However you want to answer, however you want to go.
I don't think he's the manager to take us forward. I think he's the manager that's peaked. I think he has peaked at his. I think that's as far as he's going to take us is second. I think it's a backward slide from this point. I don't think all the problems this year was his, but he is the easiest problem to solve. There are many things wrong at Arsenal Football Club, but a lot of it is a byproduct of him, i.e. Kai Havertz out of form on 280. Like, we can't move him. You know what I mean? But this is a product of him, and I blame him for this because Arsenal Football Club usually drags their feet with transfers. It usually takes us a while, right? This deadline day madness was Thomas Partey, even though it was a release clause, there was no negotiation needed. We drag our feet with transfers, but I remember the Kai Havertz links vividly, bro. We were linked to him and bang, we were linked to him 1 minute, the next minute he was holding up the shirt. There was no dragging our feet. That tells me Arteta really, really wanted him while Isak was on the market, while Kudus was on the market. And now these are players that we clearly would love at the club. We could have gotten these, man, for half the price, but 100 million for him and Fabio Vieira, when we could have 100 million could have got us Kudus, 100 million could have got us Isak or Vitinha.
Facts. This is my point, bro. This is why I say, you know, I mean, is he the man to take us forward? Because a lot of the things I'm looking at is down to this guy, right? Right? Because the Cronkies are hands off. He's in America. They don't care. They just, is the money good? All right. That's all they really care about, right? So they've let these, you know, these bozos run wild, and it's Arteta. Even when they asked about him coming back, I don't know if you saw how he looked down and was kind of giggling, but he's like a little schoolgirl, bro. Like, this guy really feels him like that, and that pisses me off because it's at the detriment to our club. And the reason why I say, especially this season, is because it is his in-game management. It is, you know, flogging the players. It is, you know, you've made our squad the smallest on purpose and you haven't done enough. You didn't trust the reinforcements we had anyway. You don't even trust the people we got on the bench. You're not brave enough. I can keep going, you know. That's why I say, you know, this season, you know, you can blame the Cronkies all you want. You can blame sporting directors all you want. But we could have won something this year if it wasn't for this little donut that controls our club, bro. Yeah, like I keep saying, Partey at right back, stubborn. What you've done to Ethan Nwaneri, you're not brave enough. You're doing like for like substitutions. You know, you're not coming out and even saying the right things. You're getting caught in bold-faced lies, bro. 1 minute it's the points comparison with Liverpool. When Tottenham win something, it's I don't compare to you. Like, you're getting on my nut. I want to clap this guy in his face. I'm sorry, I'm getting animated. But I'm just saying, I can keep going. This is why I say he has been the single most biggest problem at our club this year. I honestly believe he could have won something this year, my bro. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, we could have. The thing with him is, right, like yesterday I did a show with Şengün, and we listed some of the times he should have been sacked. One of the ones that I picked was he should have been sacked after the second 8th place finish with no Europe, right? With no trophy, right? Because essentially what Arteta has done, right? Man has stabbed us in the back with like a 12-inch blade, right?
Samurai.
And he pulls it out halfway and calls it progress. Nah, bro, the progress begins when you pull the knife out and my back starts to heal.
Oh, yeah.
But him and his top gooners won't even admit the knife is even there. They won't even admit that, oh, he brought us back and he took us out of Europe. Who took us out of Europe? How do we context doesn't fit our argument? Right? If you're gonna tell the whole truth, tell the whole truth. That's what
you can't handle the truth.
You know what I'm saying? But no one in that press conference will press him and say, Mikel, do you believe you should have unlimited amount of time and resources at Arsenal not winning? It
is unreal. They're not real people.
No one presses him on that. None.
Yeah, I was saying to Shane, they're not real people, bro. That this is ridiculous. And for me, it's like they're part of the problem as well. They know this guy's rubbish. It's like all the rival fans saying, yeah, keep Erik ten Hag in. It's like that's what the media are doing almost. Do you know what I'm saying? This guy, honestly, he's so stubborn. If you tell him the sky's blue, he's gonna try and convince you it's red. Honestly, I can't deal with the, what is it? Square pegs, round holes. I can't deal with it. If he identifies as a striker, can you play him up front, please? Like it really pisses me off. Big up Godfrey, big up Scants in the building.
Big up Scants.
Yeah, we're gonna book in your Under the Lens very, very shortly. Congratulations, all the Liverpool fans. Like I said, big up Godfrey, Latimus, Shane's in the building, Nick Fadley, big up everyone who's left a comment, BX Gunner. We're gonna go through a couple of these as well, see if there is anything what's worth talking about. Like I said, Nick Fadley says let the manager stay. Like I said, yeah, I don't know.
Nick a Chelsea fan.
Maybe. I mean, let me know, Nick, who you support if you're still in the building, bro.
I'll say to Nick, and sorry to cut you, but I say to Nick, bro, like Chelsea has had 4 managers since Arteta's been here. 4. They have won 2 European Cups. Right? So it's like the Arteta fans want us to win, but we have to win with Arteta.
With Arteta, it's like they latch on. They latch on to a guy, and then it's like he's not improving us anymore. Now we have to improve him. We're building his CV. You can't let Mikel Arteta go. He's so close. Obviously, you know about the top in the bingo anyway, so we don't need to get into that. Let me see if there's anything else worth talking. Right. So Nick Fadley also says, who's on your mind for a new manager? I mean, for me, do you know, I'm not even going to answer first. Your show. Who's on your mind, BBK?
You know, people laugh at me when I say I take Iriola, right? Because it's a club that's, you know, below us and things. But I remind those people that I'm old enough to remember that we got George Graham from Millwall.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we can give Arteta 5 years, I don't know, maybe we give Iriola 2, and he doesn't win, we move on to someone else. Right. I asked Manchester United fans all the time, you know, they loved Ole. What did you win when Ole was there? It was Vibes FC. They won absolutely nothing. Ten Hag came in, a manager who they absolutely hate, gave him 2 trophies in 2 years. This manager that they absolutely love took him out of Europe trophyless, just like us. Now you can all you can talk about is his drip. Because they universally wanted Ten Hag out. So now they have backed themselves into a corner where they have to support everything that Amorim says or does, and now they look like complete idiots.
Yeah.
So forget your feelings for Ole. Forget your feelings being emotionally attached to Amorim. You hated Ten Hag, but you won. Because you tried to banter us, you know, where's banter? We still won 2 trophies. Ten Hag won these trophies. Right? And if Ten Hag can win with these shit players, how come Ruben the God can't win with them?
Ooh, difficult and tough questions, people. Difficult and tough questions. But also, I feel like United have acted like amateurs, just giving this guy a free hit, because you can't then sack him now because you rushed him out of Sporting. You didn't want to come until the end of the season. You knew he weren't going to get any money. You said, no, it's got to be now. We can't do this no more. So you've given him a free hit. So, as I said, you messed the bed, you got to lie in it. You messed the bed, you have got to lie in it. For me, just quickly, anyone with a winning CV, you know, at this point in time, I don't want another Arteta or someone that's kind of done. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't disagree with your choice. I think Iriola is a very good manager. Thomas Frank, Glasner, they're all good managers, but I want a winning CV now for the next 2 years.
Xavi Hernandez.
Bro, I'll take him in a heartbeat. Conte, he's just left Napoli. I'll take him in a heartbeat. Inzaghi, I'll take him in a heartbeat. Simeone, Ancelotti, anyone with a winning CV, give them 2 years and a decent budget, and let's see where we're at. That's kind of where I'm at on it. Big up BX Gunner. He's saying that Arsenal have been the third wheel. History will only remember this rivalry between City and Liverpool, with United and Chelsea. That arrow always gets on my nerves, picking up some things. That's what I'm saying, because history remembers winners, my bro. I mean, you've alluded to it yourself. It's not Vibes FC. You don't win anything, you know. So I mean, yeah, I absolutely believe that we're kind of doing up third wheel at the moment. Absolutely.
I just don't. If someone just sits down with Mikel and have an honest conversation with him and be like, bro, you don't think anyone else should get a chance? You just think you're just supposed to sit here infinitely? Like, don't you think someone else should get a chance? But he won't, bro. And not walking away from 15 million.
Bro, he never got that as a player. There's no way he's walking away from that, bro. We're gonna have to literally like kidnap him and get him out of there like that. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna have to be a whole operation, bro. Godfrey said
next season, though. I'm sorry, go on.
Go on.
Yeah, I'm saying going into next season, I'm of the firm belief that 1 or 2 things will happen. Either we will win something, or he will get sacked. Both those things. One of those things will happen.
For me personally, I know I'm just accepting the fact that it ain't gonna go. People are like, it needs to go. Don't even finish the summer or gone by Christmas. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think he's gonna get another year, and it sickens me because one, I feel like we've missed our chance to win, and two, I feel like we haven't got time for this. You know,
Yeah.
to be even now, like the Cronkies, like they make me feel like a little bit like, oh, there's a bit of confidence in them because you're getting the best in class in Berta, but then you're giving this guy another year. So then you take away all that credit you just earned.
Yeah.
We're doing another Ronald McDonald move. You know, if we're gonna save the arm, we need to cut the hand off. We can't be waiting. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, so I don't know. Well, we're gonna have this guy next year, but yeah, I agree with you, my bro. But the reason why I said that is because I just don't feel like we've got the time. But at the same time, we don't have a choice. It's, you know, it is a dictatorship at this club. Nick Fadley says Henry likes Alvarez. I like Alvarez. I like Alvarez. Yeah, I think I read that one. So I just want to see if there's anything else in here. 35 million for Vieira, unbelievable. Yeah, really. Bro, what do you think about this Lokonga, bro? That's something I could ask you quickly. Jeez.
So wow, so Liverpool are signing Verse, and we were extending Lokonga. This is that's that, bro. This is why right now, if a Liverpool fan, a Crystal Palace fan, a Newcastle fan, a Tottenham fan, and a Chelsea fan all go with walk in the bar, only the Arsenal fan is getting laughed at.
Facts. Bro.
Only one holding coin.
Bro, where are we, bro? In 2025, this is unbelievable. Godfrey saying Cunha will be on 200k per week at United, apparently. Well, yeah, there you go. They're meant to be broke, but they can still do things like this. How are they moving? They move better than us in January. Yeah, they're moving better than us already. Obviously, we still got the summer to go. Maybe it's a bit too early, but yeah, I don't know, man. As you said, it's the same kind of routine. It's the same. I've got the same feeling, bro. I've got the same feeling. Godfrey says took us 6 weeks for Calafiori and Moreno. That's disgusting.
For 6 days to sign Havertz, though. you know what I'm saying?
This man loves him, bro. That's why Godfrey said these journalists are so bro. Honestly, they're part of the cabal, bro. Honestly, they're if they don't ask him the readied questions, then that's the last press conference. Only 1% of them ask hard-hitting questions, and then you never see them again. Yeah. Big up Scans. He's saying, have you man covered the Henri comments? I don't see nothing wrong with them, just showing his winning mentality. We did, but obviously if you didn't hear it, then maybe BBK, you might want to run over it again quickly.
Yeah, the man is just tired of seeing his club being bantered, bro. Man is tired of seeing his club, not win. Because Thierry Henry was here, delivered two league titles, sits at the goal table. He knows what Arsenal is supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And a part of me wonders why, when he left us in 07, the alarm bell should have been ringing anyway. But he comes back and he says these comments. They are fair comments. Absolutely fair. I mean, he really tried to pretty it up a little bit. He could probably drop more bombs on Arteta's head, but leave that to us. That for him. But yeah, there was nothing wrong with the comments, man. Matter of fact, we need more ex-players to say more of this.
That's a great point. He really could have dunked on man, really. Like he was being nice. He was being nice. And as I said to you, it's almost like as Arsenal fans, you've almost got to what's it, roadkill? Do you know what I'm saying? Like you're flogging a dead horse by trying to ban out us type of fans because we know how bad it is. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, TT can do whatever he wants. He can say whatever he likes. That's TT, innit? Any top goon chatting rubbish, give your head a wobble, innit? Like that. That's what I will say. But yeah, man, brilliant. We've gone over the hour again. It's just flown by. That's what happens when you're having fun. You know what I mean? It's just flown by. Big up everyone that has been in the chat. Tell me a little bit about your channel, my bro. What you kind of do over there, and your YouTube journey or things you might have coming up. We'll ask that after, but let's talk about your channel, the shows that you do. Give us a little bit of information on your channel, bro.
Yeah, man. So I live in the States where I don't even like to use this word, but soccer it's like the fourth tier sport, right? There's the NFL, there's the NBA, there's baseball, and there's our football. But growing up in Jamaica, football is a thing. Football is my so it's like I'm immersed in all sports. Living in New York, the Knicks are king. The Knicks are in the NBA playoffs right now, so I do all sports. I do a weekly NBA Wednesday show. that's doing well. The NFL season is the off season right now, so I don't do that as much. But when that starts back up, I do around the leagues show where I go around all the leagues and then touch on the biggest story from each league. But yeah, BBK Sports, it's sports in general with a heavy concentration in European football, the real football, and even a heavier concentration in Arsenal. Like I want to say 80% of that show is Arsenal centric, but it's not an Arsenal. I'm an Arsenal fan, but it's not an Arsenal channel. I let everyone come on and have their say.
Yeah, that's why I call this views on sport and not views on Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? You want to be a little bit more open. I get it. I'm pretty sure you go live daily, or is it just kind of you got a good routine at the minute?
Yeah, so the routine at the minute is that I usually stream between 3:30 and 4 p.m. UK time daily. I don't do much on the weekends. The Club World Cup is coming up, so I got a couple games here in Seattle, so I'm going to do a couple of vlogs. Yeah, we got Inter and a couple of teams that's going to be playing here in the local stadium. So yeah, I'm going to do a couple of vlogs for that.
Yeah, that should be dope, man. That should be dope. I always like it, but I feel like I've been dropped off of the jobs. I don't, I feel like that's been happening. I think the missus is doing a women's game. I think there's some women's football coming up. She's at Wembley tomorrow. I'm like, you know what I mean? I always like those opportunities to go and blog. So that should be really good, man. I'll definitely be looking forward to that. And what have you got kind of coming up? Any specific shows or any specific kind of things that you want to bring up quickly? Or
yeah, I got I'm on with what's today? Thursday? Yeah, I'm on with Tony Claude tomorrow. He does a podcast he calls Stirs the Pot, where we'll just go in there and make some hyperbolic takes. So that's tomorrow. I think the time is I want to say 8:30 or 9:30 UK time. So yeah, look out for that one.
Yeah, big up Tony Claude. Big up Tony Claude. Is your thing with Abs a weekly thing, or is that just every now and again?
It was a weekly thing going into the Premier League predictions, but yeah, now the season's over, so yeah, we'll probably do a show with him like once a week, just do random other stuff. But it was a prediction show. It was specifically a prediction show. So obviously, season's over. We'll do something else.
Good stuff. Big up Ladamus. He says Tony always makes hyperbolic takes, and Ladamus is there to clip it up, man. Big him up. Big up the Sarcasm City TV. I think it's the Clips channel. Make sure you go and show Ladamus and Sarcasm some love, and make sure you're going to show my guest BBK Sports some love. It's been a great show, my guy. This has been your Under the Lens. Like I said, it's been a pleasure to have you on. Always welcome. We'll have to work something out. Shortly. Obviously, you bigged up your channel. You bigged up your shows. Trying to think, is there anything else I've missed, my bro? Anything else I've missed?
Yeah, man.
What more can I squeeze out of the lemon from BBK? What have I missed?
No, we ain't missed nothing, man. It's just that the part of me started to wonder a couple of days ago when I started to think about this question in my head, where I was like, maybe Arteta and the management at the club, maybe winning was never the aim in the first place, right? Maybe we were just meant to compete, and if we won along the way, okay. It's something to think about, because the moves that they do make actually supports that narrative. It's kind of like, I think it might even be the KSC model. They wanted to compete, but the fact that Arne Slot came in and actually won, they were like, okay, good. Now that we've won, we can actually strengthen more than we had we not. Because part of the thing is like their model here in the States, because they own the Boston Red Sox, who compete directly with my New York Yankees. They don't pay old players, bro. They were completely banking on Mo Salah falling off of a cliff this year.
Right.
But he didn't. He had an all-time banger of a season, and they had to pay him. That's why they let his contract run down, because they were banking on him. So it's like the KSC, FSG, bro. These their G6 planes are on the same clearport. They have the same yachts. They play golf together. These are these billionaires. They're friends, bro, and they just use that. Like you say all the time, Arsenal Football Club is not even in their LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's not, bro. It's not, bro. These men are the plug. I'm telling you.
Yeah. So it's like, if we win, yeah, cool, but we won't be able to do that with Arteta. We have to find the right manager. The one thing that FSG does do, they find the right manager who can squeeze all the juice out the lemon, like you said. And I think Arteta don't squeeze the juice out the lemon, man. You give this man lemon, and he's trying to make sweet tea with it.
Very well said. Big up Ladamus. He said, final question for BBK. Spurs have just won a European trophy, and top gooners / Arteta inners don't care. So what do you think it will take for them to finally wake up to what's going on, my bro? What's it going to take?
A slow start to the season. A slow start to the season. Yeah, a slow start to the season because the FA has changed the international breaks for this upcoming season. That September international break is no longer a thing. The first international break will be in October 6th to October 15th. So we'll have a bigger sample size going into the first international break. We'll play around 6 or 7 games. If we start those games slow, if we're not first, not because if Manchester City are 21 points off 7 games, Liverpool are 20 points off 7 games, and we are 13. We got 13 points off 7 games. We see that the season's slipping away before it even starts. Facts. Then the table will turn, because I actually think the fact that Arsenal fans who live in London in general, North London in particular, who have to walk these spots now, are going to start to turn.
Yeah. No, I think I think you're absolutely right. To be honest, I would have thought it enough. I thought we were seeing enough this season, to be fair. But yeah, I feel like next season. I mean, what more you're going to say next season again? Latimus also says, of course, the Kai Havertz still took 6 days. Chelsea accepted the deal. Yeah, as soon as the sanctions were hit, no refunds.
They couldn't believe their luck. We paid full price for an out of form Chelsea player.
Bump, you know what I mean? But yeah, wicked, man. All right, cool. Big up everyone in the chat. Again, big yourself up, BBK. I really enjoyed this, man. Always welcome on the channel. Thank you for coming on again. We are going to try and redirect you. There's only a couple of you in the building, but we're going to redirect you over to Dan and the 12th man. So go over and say views raid. Thank you again, BBK. This has been your Under the Lens. And yeah, I've had a great time, my bro. So make sure you're hitting the like. Make sure you're subbing to BBK. Over to 12th man and say views raid. And we will be back again soon, people. Peace.